Hey guys, back with another Maplestory video here. This time, I'm going to show a normal Damien run. This is on Night Lord. And I want to use this video sort of as just one of the major talking points when it comes to the meta and rebalancing. And one of the things that I think we've been, as a community, kind of pushing for in a long time. It seems like more recently, especially in 2023, Nexon has been pushing in this direction as well. And then I'm going to talk about which class obviously needs the biggest rebalance because of it. And so this topic of rebalance is mainly surrounding about the fact that some classes are very necessary to clear endgame bossing, right? Like for years, it's been you need a paladin, you need a bishop, you need a shade, you need phantoms, all for their quote-unquote support skills. Res, synchro, split, and crit res. And in 2023, they seem to temporarily, or what they thought was going to happen was with the crit rate change being uncapped, crit res may not have been as necessary. Needing certain classes for team comps may not be necessary, because if you have fair trade, you are basically going to be critting 100% of the time, as you see I am here, no matter what the team comp is, as long as fair traded up. Now for Damien, that made it, well, hard Damien specifically, it's still a challenge, right? Using fair trade is very risky, something that a lot of the teams still don't do because of mechanics. But for most of other content, especially like normal Damien here, it is very easy to use fair trade and toggle on and off, especially for altars. As you'll see in this video, I am on altar duty. I use fair trade and I toggle it on and off. As a Night Lord with no real survivability for altars, I did just fine. And that comes back to the point of support classes and the transition into hopefully eliminating those altogether. Now, obviously, some classes are still going to be, it's going to be beneficial to have some support, like paladins, phantoms, Sias, shades it's going to make it easier, but it's not going to make it impossible to clear. And one thing that you notice from this run, well, is that we have no bishop buffs. We are not going to have benediction for these blue orb skills right there that comes down for the stuns. We have no bishop in this run. We have 2 paladins and a phantom, and this is what it's like. We're obviously going to clear. It's not going to make that big of a difference, and that is a problem if Nexon decides to not give bishops the DPS boost that they deserve, right? Right now, their lines are by far the worst compared to any class. That needs to change, right? If they're going in this direction, right? Because if we're clearing content without bishops, what are bishops at the highest level? What are bishops bringing value-wise, right? It's better off to take a phantom, which can do literally everything that a bishop can do except for have benediction, or maybe even a second paladin for another res, for synchro, another echo, maybe a Sia. There are just more options, and if they are transitioning into this meta of just having as much DPS as possible, not needing support, aka bishops, then they need to rebalance and buff bishops exponentially, in my opinion. And maybe they will, right? But I think it's a talking point, and it's very important to talk about this because bishops have obviously been a staple in the game. They're still a staple in PC. They will always have value in auto battle, in training, in majority of bossing, right? There's still value, but if, there are classes that can do this, it's the same job, maybe 80% of it, but do 20%, maybe 30% more damage, maybe even more, then obviously a bishop is not going to be necessary or required. And so, yes, it's challenging bishop just brings so much more utility, just more room for error. But you can see kind of in this video right here, we have two quote unquote alt paladins at the bottom of the DPS. And if we had a similarly geared bishop instead of one of those paladins, it would be doing significantly less damage, right? And they wouldn't be bringing much else to the table, because in normal Damien, you see our lives aren't really an issue, right? We have 9 lives left. And I think, we're going to get down in lives soon, but it's not going to be as impactful as just having that DPS, just the raw DPS. So I hope with the next rebalance, right, this is something that they brought up. Like, if this is what direction they want to go, then just full send it, right? And I think bishops in PC are very good solo bossers as well. So I'm not sure about KMSM, but if you guys have any, knowledge of what bishops are like in PC, definitely comment below. But I just feel like that is the next step, right? That is just where the meta should go, and hopefully where the direction that they want to take it, and just allow it for any class to be able to do it. Not, if you don't have a bishop, you can still clear. If you don't have a shade, which a lot of teams don't have, you can still clear. If you don't have a paladin, you can still clear. Like, if you don't have a phantom, like, there's no set in stone class that you have to have anymore. Just allowing people to play the classes that they want to play. Boss with the classes they want to boss with, just having the DPS, having the gear, having the skill, the mechanics down, instead of worrying about, now we have to bring in a bishop, an alt bishop that's under-geared, but just because of some skills that they have that no other class has, we have to take them, right? In this case, if we were to, if we could sub out one of a second paladins, for example, which is arguably the least geared by a significant amount of margin on this team, with a 25 mil cap plus dpser, that feels like it makes more sense, right? Mains of DPS classes with good gear should be taking preference over a paladin that is an alt, a bishop that is an alt, that is only in the run because of quote-unquote support. And so I hope that is the direction that they face. Maybe it won't be there for hard Damien yet, but it's definitely there for Lotus. It's definitely there for Arc, right? Because Arc Phantoms can bring Shell for the screen cracks. You can stun and do things like that as well. And DPS just kind of overpowers Arc. Normal Damien, clearly it's there. Clearly it's possible. I've cleared this team multiple times without a bishop, which is nice, right? In my opinion, as long as bishops get a well-deserved buff to their DPS so that they can contribute, and, people aren't going to have to re-roll. People aren't going to have to, we can take the best gear, the best players, versus just handpicking classes that just have to take up, 3 out of the 10 slots of a team composition. So you can see, right, lives in this run start to get a little shaky towards the end without that bishop res, multiple reses with TL. But you see that the benediction, having benediction didn't really affect us. Shell obviously has minimal value compared to other bosses, and we needed every ounce of DPS here to get this clear. right? We end up with 2 lives left, maybe less, but we're pretty sweaty. Pretty sweaty, and if we had the bishop DPS, if we had less DPS, we probably wouldn't have cleared. So just something interesting. I hope that this video kind of shows, that it is possible to clear without a bishop, and it is just time for bishops to get that DPS boost that they deserve so that they can be contributing and not being left behind. Thank you for watching. Love to hear your thoughts and comments below. I'll see you next time.